Hello everybody, I'm the Gaming King, and welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Showdown. Today, we do the Unova team. Now, this team I had very terrible luck with. I missed a lot of stuff. I missed Steve Strong points turn. I got critted. I got burned. A lot of stuff happened that went wrong with the team. Went wrong, and I mean, boy, did it suck. But luckily, I did manage to pull off some wins with this team, so let's get started. So first off, I said I was superior to Kyurem. So I decided to switch out to my Assault Vest Conkelders in order to take the Ice Beam, and that does happen. So I then decided to go for a Drain Punch, and he sent out Shaman. So I'm like, okay, this is good. And so I then decided to go for a Poison Jab, since it's basically one of my strongest moves I have for this thing. And I do get the Poison, which is good. So now I believe I switch out into Hydreigon, and literally everything dies to this Hydreigon. Nothing can outspeed it. So basically, the Draco Meteor does a butt ton of damage to something. And so she has to attack off the Cloud. He sits in Swirlo, so I'm like, okay, that's good. So yeah, Swirlo comes in. I have to sit on Dino. I make evolve. He is able to do a tremendous damage to me, and I end up losing my Swirl because my Arnold, because I have to. So now I decided to send Samurott, since I do have Aqua Jet, and it does knock out the Swirl. So now Shaman comes back in. So I basically ride back out to Hydreigon and just go for a Draco Meteor, since nothing can take a Draco Meteor, and he sits in Snow King. And now here's where I made a boo-boo here. By boo-boo, I mean mistake. So I should have just Draco Meteored. So yeah, that was a huge mistake on my part. So I said, go on, Samurott, go for the knockoff. It has Protect, so I'm like, oh great, that's how good. So he then decides to go to Shaman. I'm like, okay, this is good. So yeah, see, they decides to go for Leechy. So I'm like, okay, let me Toxic you. So yeah, that's good. So then I decided to go back into Hydreigon as he goes in for a Giga Drain. Now we play this game once again. Something is going to die to Draco Meteor, and this time it's the Soul King. So yeah, Soul King is going to die to the next Draco. Yeah. So yeah, now Clarito comes in. So I basically decided to send back in Samurott. Basically because I have nothing to basically take a hit from this thing. And he sits in Shaman again. I'm like, oh, come on. So I then decided to switch into Superior, knowing the Leech Seed is coming, and I decided to go for a Leaf Storm. And he goes into Cure, which is good. Good for me. So I do have Dragon Pulse on this thing, and yeah, that's basically game here, because Shaman can't never Dragon Pulse from +2 Superior, and Clarissa can't survive, So Shaman does have, just kidding, but I am able to take out next turn, and as you guys see here I win because Clarissa can't do anything to me. It can't even outspeed me. So yeah, that was the first game, and I'll be back with the second game. Okay guys, so I am back with the second game, and let's see how I do against this team. So he set up a TD, I set out Hydreigon. So I decided to go for a Dark Pulse. But they come to me that it might be Scarf. So Dark Pulse, yeah. So that's basically my only move. So I then decided to switch to Arno, and he decides to go for his Stealth Rocks. No biggie for me. And he goes for a Superpower, which does nothing to me since I am an Audino. And yeah. So he then switch out Victini again. He goes for a V-Crit. I take that. And I go for a Hyper Voice. Still got a huge amount of damage to it. So he then sees out Sableye, and I decided to go for another Hyper Voice. Because he then Mega Evolves and fakes me out, which isn't really the worst thing in the world. So he goes back out into Victini as I go for a Dragon Kiss. So I decided to send Sarah to take the V-Crate, but instead, he goes for a Bolt Strike. However, I do kill the Aquajet. I guess he didn't realize it. And yeah, Victinia's Calp. I do get a crit, but I don't know if it mattered. He did sound Superior, and I have nothing for Superior. I legit have nothing for Superior. Except for my Choice Scarf and Boar. which I knocked it out, luckily. No one really expected it to be scarfed. He did, so Sableye goes for a fake out. I decided to go for another flare blitz. Let this choice scarf, and boy, it does wonders to a team. So yeah, as you guys see here, yeah, Sableye goes down to a crit, not doesn't matters. And Saki comes in. Flare blitz does 54% damage, ouch. And yeah, that is game, cause really, what can they do? Seriously. If I say a Hydreigon, I can just one-shot everything. Kakyoda can just drain and ice punch everything. Superior can just set up. There's nothing he can do. So yeah, see you all in round 3. Okay, so this is round 3, everybody. Now this is actually one of the harder rounds. So yeah, let's get to it. So basically, I see a Sableye and he says out Jolteon. I don't have much for the Jolteon except for Audino. So yeah, and he is Diform, which sucks. So now he sits out Ghastly and he goes for a Trick, which is good for me since I am a Mega Stone. So which brings me to the point in which I have to keep Mega Audino around so I don't get tricked, because I do not like Trick. So I said predicted the small to come out, but he says it goes for a knockoff. So I'm like, oh great. And Nistorm does a tremendous amount of damage. And he goes for the Surge Bomb, so I'm like, really, dude? But luckily I am able to take out Tangrowth, which is not that bad. And he says, oh, Jolteon again, so I'm like, okay, Hydreigon, you're gonna have to come in here. And yeah. So I predicted the Sylveon to come in, and I go for a Choice Specs Flash Care, which does a tremendous amount of damage to this thing. And he then decides to go to Vaporeon, but I really didn't have an option. I do get the crit though, which really doesn't matter in the long run. So I then decided to send it to Kakyoda, and he does get the poison, which is good for me. So yeah, I did go for Drain Punch. Does get a crit, another crit, youch. So yeah, that ain't good for him. So Ghastly does come in, sadly. And yeah, so next up I decided to bring back Audino, knowing something's gonna happen. He goes for a Dusty Bond. I decided to go for a Calm Mind, knowing something's gonna come in. Yeah, I predicted that. So he then decides to go for a Toxic. I'm like, okay, let me heal Bill up, because I know I get to my Gust boosted Kakyoda, but I would prefer getting burned and trying to get burned over getting Toxic any day. So the Sylveon goes for a yaw, and puts me to sleep. I go for a Heal Boy, thinking that I might cure my drowsiness, and he goes for a Trick. So I'm like, oh, great. So he then decides to switch out. He goes into Landorus. I'm like, oh, this ain't good. And so I sent out Samurott to basically take the hit. So here I decided to go for a Swords Dance here, and basically, yeah, I believe go for an Arcajet. Yeah, I went for an Arcajet here. And he goes for a U-turn. So Ghastly comes back out. I decided to go for an Arcajet because I don't know if I outspeed it, and he sends out Vaporeon. And I end up healing it, which sucks. So I then decided to go for a Toxic, but I missed the Toxic. Like, wonderful. So I then decided to go for a knockoff, but sadly he protects. I am able to eventually get off the knockoff, but I basically let Samurott go down the process. It's not really that big of a deal. Since Samurott did its part already, so yeah, that sucks. So yeah, Samurott's going down here, and there's really nothing I can do about it. And it is what it is. But luckily, I am able to send out the Hydreigon, and nothing can take a Draco Meteor from this thing. Okay, Vaporeon can sort of take a Draco Meteor from this thing, but next turn it won't. So something is going to die, and that is the Vaporeon. I love Draco Meteor Hydreigon. It is so First Specs Hydreigon. It's so powerful. And so I sit at a board since I really have nothing for this thing. So, and I decided to go for a Flare Blitz since, yeah, I have nothing for this thing. And yeah, this thing is dead. Or so I thought. So yeah. So I set out Hydreigon again, and once again something is going to die, and this time it's the Landorus. And yeah, Jolteon comes back in again, and I have to let Hydreigon die. So I did go to Kakyoda. And I decided to go for Ice Punch, predicted the gas would come in, and that is true, and it does get knocked out. And so Jolteon comes in, and Thunderbolt, yeah, I know about that, and Drain Punch. So I am able to get my third win with this team, and I'll be back with the fourth back. Okay, so here we are, battle number 4. And this one was actually a tricky one, so let's get started. So he said superior, so I said superior. I decided to go to Cobra. Now, I thought he might switch out, so I decided to go for a Leaf Storm or 7 Rocks, but nope. He instead goes right up to the Wave Bird. So he then goes for, so I decided to go for a Dragon, go for a Dog Post, but he sends out Sylveon, so I'm like, this is not good. I'm already off to a really bad start since I lost my Suicune check, and he sends out Pinsir. And what happens here is that we both decide to Mega Evolve. I go for a Dragon Kiss, predicting him to go for something like an Air Raid. A close combat is able to do a humongous amount of damage, and I am able to go for a Hyper Voice. He does get a Cloud turn. I'm not sure if that mattered. I then go out to Sarah, go for an Aqua Drake, and knock out the Pinsir. So I'm not in the best position in the world. So I did go to Kilger, knowing, predicted that whatchamacallit, Zero Roast was going to happen, and it does this time. And boy, Kilger puts in the finest of work in this match. He puts in the finest of work. So yeah, Scarry, you're not going to take that. Actually, he sort of is. And so now I decide to switch back out to Hydreigon and go for a fast cat. Predicted Sylveon to come in, but instead Suicune comes in, so I'm like, oh, this is not good. And so yeah, I have to switch into a more because I predicted him for him to call mine, but he's dead toxic. So I go for a Wild Charge, but he goes for a Protect, so I'm like, this is not good. This is not good. I'm already down 3-5. 4-5. Luckily I do get a crit on this weekend, which is good for me. And here's where the fun starts happening. Carkilda comes in and can Drain Punch practically everything. Drain Punch does a humongous damage on Sylveon, and I'm just able to go for a Poison Jab. So yeah, that Sylveon is dead. And I'm closing the gap again. So I then decided to go for a Drain Punch again on the Volcanion. And the Volcanion is no more. So he then goes into Volcarona. I forgot that at Bugby's it's fighting, so I go for a Drain Punch. And yeah, that wasn't really the best move on my part. So he goes to the Giga Drain. I decided to go for it. Poison Jab. It does a humongous amount of damage. And so I then decided to go for a Mach Punch, taking Volcarona out and me out as well. So now Hydreigon can just freely come in and just destroy everything with Dog Post. Like literally, Dog Post murders everything. Like wow, that does so much damage. And yeah, Dog Post just wrecks house. And yeah, he loses. So I'll be back with the 5th and final round. Okay, so I am back with the 5th and final round, and I'm going up against a Rain team this round, so let's see how that plays out. So he sits in Polyturn, I sit in Superior, so I decided to go for Leaf Storm, and it does a tremendous damage to Tornadus. I thought he was a Saltfish for some reason, but instead he's not. I think he's like he's life formed, so I basically lose one of my big advantages to this match. So he decides to U-turn. I believe I decided to Sword Stance this turn. Yeah, I Sword Stance. But however, Ludicolo comes in, so I'm like, oh, great. So I decided to see a Carkilda, predicted Skull to come through. So I then decided to Drain Punch. And predicted Clefty to come in. And that is the case. So yeah, Drain Punch is going to work humongous on you. He tries to get some damage on me with down pay. I get a crit on him with Drain Punch, which is good. So then he decides to go for a Light Screen. He Drain Punch. So I predict him to basically switch out into like Tornadus or Ludicolo this turn. So I go for the Ice Punch, but instead he has leftover. So I decided to just go for a Mach Punch, and Pyto comes in, and I decided to go for a Drain Punch. So yeah, Ludicolo then comes in, and I decided to Drain Punch again. And next turn I decided to Poison Jab, and I believe he gets the burn on me. Yep, and yeah. Ludicolo is dead. So then he decides to switch in Kabutops. So I'm like, okay, that ain't good. I decided to switch into Dragon. Nothing really can deal with this thing. So I basically have to let something die. So I then set out Samurott and decided to go for a Swords Dance. And boy, does this thing do some work in this game. I decided to go for the Architect. It does tremendous damage. And I decided to go for a Waterfall too. So he goes for a Waterfall. So I go for an Architect. And in the rain, it does tremendous damage to the tornadoes. And then Polito comes in. I then decide to go for a knockoff. And it does tremendous damage. He goes for the Skull, but luckily I do not get burned and live on 1%. And so I decided to Aqua Jet here. No, I decided to knock off. And yeah, that is not good for him. And so I then decided to go for another Aqua Jet, knocking out the Kabutops. And the only two Pokemon left are Swampert and Politoed. And I can easily handle them. So Aqua Jet is going to do tremendous amount of damage to Swampert in the rain, whether or not it was in the rain. So Kakero comes in. He's just able to Mach Punch everything. So yeah, that's basically the game, guys. So yeah, nothing can live. So yeah, that was actually pretty interesting. So next time on Pokemon Showdown, we have the final generation, which is Cows, which I'm doing right now. Hope you all enjoy. I'm the Gaming King, and I'll see you all later.